It's recording.
We have one catch basin that can handle
If you think about it, all the years that I worked around here,
Hi, what's your name?
I had to wear a glove because the girl was into the night. We would watch skiing every I wish I could. I have no guns left. Even to my son's friends. What do you got? Good thing. With the 12 gauge and the 38
It's pump action. Okay. 3 or 4. One shot.
Okay, we're going to start the meeting. The first ordinance that we're going to be considering tonight for pending a new legislation is ordinance number 45-2013. Mr. Mayor, do you want to comment on this, please?
Well, Jordan Warfield is here, and we brought him in so you could question him and get more information.
Jordan?
Yes.
There you are, Jordan.
Hi. Just come around.
Your name is?
Jordan Warfield.
Okay, Jordan.
Yes, sir.
What I prefer to do, we have an agenda tonight.
Sure.
We have 1/2 hour of work.
Yes, sir.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask that this be held at second reading. And what we'll do is we'll hold a work session, and we'll have you come and make a presentation at the work session, okay?
Okay.
We don't need a work session. You want to just do it?
Sure.
Do it. I already know it.
I'm sorry.
Give him 5 minutes. Let's go.
Okay. Jordan, you have 5 minutes.
5 minutes is good. For the sake of time, I made copies of this separated by the magazine there, the newsletter in the back. So please pass that around. It's a little proposal that I'd like to do as far as the economic development for the city of Macedonia. There's a letter of recommendation from Mayor Sarah Drew, the city of Stowe, which I'm currently independently contracted for 20 hours a week, and working with the planning and economic development department on a number of projects locally, regionally, at the state and federal levels as well. And you know, I'm happy to be there. I've been looking forward to meeting everyone and introducing myself to you all. I'm from Hudson. I live right down the road in Northfield Center in the Rolling Brook development, and I would love to have an opportunity to come on and work with the folks here in the city doing some economic development projects. Those are lined out with some bullet points that I made. You know, with an outreach retention program being tied in with Jobs Ohio and their Ohio Insight with the available commercial properties, trying to get those filled up and marketed, having it be a right fit for the city of Macedonia. And it's trying to hurry, I'm drawing a blank, but if you go down the list, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have on those. Oh, thank you very much.
I got a question for you.
Yes,
Did you work
yes,
at Latrette's office? Were you a
Yes.
helper for him?
Yes, worked with Latrette for his last 2 years in office.
What could you do that a volunteer group of citizens couldn't do?
Well, I think that I'd be plugged in, you know, every day on a daily basis, and I've established those contacts with you know, the state and federal elected officials. I've had a working relationship with them and keep those relationships, and you know, it's been really a great fit for Stowe. We've been able to update our lists and our outreach programs to help and to grow the existing businesses
Are you gonna make more than you cost?
I sure hope so, yes, sir, that's the goal, and, yeah, it's an opportunity, I want everyone to, you know, to be on board and really, put some resources into economic development, and, I think we have a good track record going, and I wanna, you know, continue that for the city here.
Great.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Session's closed. Thank you very much.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
Sure, thank you guys for having me.
David, since you're so enthused about ordinance number 45-2013, you're enthused. You could add the ordinance number 45-2013. Ordinance number 47-2013. Mr. Mayor, could you please comment on this, please?
This would give us the ability, whenever we have people who would get certified, move up, have some reason that they would change their status from where they're at now to a job with greater responsibility and a job that requires more, we would shorten the length of probation time. After being on probation, everyone is eligible for one raise. The raise is calculated by a formula. Scott, do you remember that formula off the top of your head?
30% of the midpoint of the range, that's their pay grade.
All right, so mid-range of the paid grade and less. So you wouldn't have anybody going from the bottom of the pay range all the way to the top. This is a very, very good thing to do for the people to want to advance themselves and move up, and that'll give them the chance to move up and not have to wait a year before they can get more money. We have a couple of people right now that would affect, but this happens all the time anyway. If when you have a probation period, you get more money. If you keep your job during that probation period, if you don't produce, and we have some people that already have a proven track record that they can produce, so this would be a good thing to do.
One question, as I recall, I don't have it in front of me, I guess I could pull it up, we were going from 1 year to 30 days, was that right?
No, it would be a minimum of a month, and then any time up to a year, so it could be 4 months, 5 months, 6 months.
Well,
It would all depend on how well adapted to the job the person is.
so their probation is dependent on how their supervisor thinks they're doing, so they can say on day 31, you've made probation, or let's go to 7 months and 1 day or something like that. That sounds a little...
Well, it may, but if you think about it, there's some people today that are actually working at a job for quite some time and not being paid for it. They're already doing it. Macedonia has been doing more with less for years, and there's people doing work in this city that are entitled to get a raise, and we can't give it to them.
I have no problem with that, but I think going from a year to 30 days and then it's kind
Well,
of ambiguous.
make it a compromise.
Well, I'm saying, that's my next, I think 90 days is a reasonable amount of time.
90 days is okay. It's better than a year.
Why don't we keep this at second reading then, and we can modify it. And Shane, since you brought it up, I'm gonna let you handle ordinance number 47-2000.
I don't have a problem making the amendment on the floor if you guys want to do that.
I'd rather spend a little bit more time on it, yeah.
Work session?
No work session.
Pardon?
Just talking.
I know Shane enjoys work sessions.
I do.
Yeah, he shows up regularly.
Ordinance number 48-2013, an ordinance adjusting the city prosecutor's maximum allowable billable hours. I'd like to keep this at second reading, and Nick, could you handle this, please?
Sure.
Ordinance number 49-2013, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of a 2013 Ford F-350 4x4 crew cab truck from Park Ford for use by the Macedonia Fire Department. Do we have any reference? Yes, sir, Mr.
This is all
this.
Any
Would you like to
questions?
comment on this?
Yeah, we're replacing a 1998 Dodge truck. We're gonna be giving that to the building department to use to get off-road, and we're purchasing a new one. It'll tow our trailers properly. State bid, getting it through state bid. Actually, we went through Park Ford, which is close to us, and they meet and actually beat state bid, get about $15,000 off a sticker.
Great. Mike Miller, would you like to handle ordinance number 49, 2013? 1, 2, 3, of course. And we have ordinance number 50, 2013, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of a Hustler Super Z zero-turn mower from Baker Vehicle Systems for use by the Macedonia Service Department. Mr. DiGatano.
Yes, sir. That's to replace one of our mowers that is no longer working. It's been down for almost a year now. We can't get parts for it anymore. Nobody can, so it's replacing that mower.
Rita, could you please handle that?
Was it?
Ordinance number 50, 2013.
That was all appropriated.
And that's all, 1, 2, 3.
Mr. DiGatano, did you know that's an American-made unit, and Cleveland has 80 of them, Parma has 12. But now you do.
Good information. Ordinance number 51, 2013. An ordinance authorizing the purchase of a Cushman Turf Truckster and implements from Baker Vehicle Systems for use by the Macedonia Service Department. Mr. DiGatano.
Yes, sir. That will be used to improve our ball fields, grading them, cleaning them, scraping them, and for other uses. It's almost, it can haul up to a ton of dirt also, so it'll be used for transporting materials around the park.
Didn't we do something last year with that where it was some outrageous number and we were kicking it around and we got something else?
Yes, and a little less costly, I think. I
So
remember.
what happened with that piece of equipment?
That we never got. This is the piece of equipment. That never came about.
We never got it?
No. This is the piece of equipment we're buying now.
What's
Yeah, we objected to that piece of equipment.
Yes.
There was strong feelings against it.
What I could remember, I wasn't involved in it at the time, but what I remember, it was rejected. So this is why we went with this piece of equipment.
How much is that one piece of equipment?
I don't have the exact amount, I believe it's 22,000.
Exhibits in your.
Yeah,
18,
you have it. Or-
18.6, is that appropriated?
yes,
We already have that in there?
yes.
And those are all state prices.
Rita, do you want to handle that, 1, 2, 3? And ordinance number 52, 2013, an ordinance ratifying the agreement with Zabarella Brothers Construction Company for masonry repair at the Macedonia Family Recreation Center. There's one thing I want to bring up on this. There was a Zabarella involved in the Cuyahoga County probe. Does this company have any type of connection with the Zabarella that was involved in the Cuyahoga County probe that was done by federal agents over the past few years?
Yes, it was one of the brothers, Nick, with,
Was Nick ever a principal in this company, or was he ever involved in the company?
he's one of the owners of the company. There's 3 brothers.
No, he's talking about the company that was involved in the Cuyahoga Falls, the Cuyahoga County
Well, the
scandal.
Nick did on his own, he did some work for Mr. DeMora.
So,
And you got
So-
paid for it?
this is, I guess what I'm asking is this company, was this company have any individuals involved?
Not the company, Nick is one of the owners, there's 3 brothers.
Okay.
Yes, he was involved with that, and it was just Nick who was doing work for Mr. DeMora.
He wasn't indicted, convicted, in jail.
Well, he did go to jail, I believe. or
No,
he was-
no jail, what he did was,
He let out?
he did some home time, I guess you wanna call it. It was just something that happened, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember reviewing this particular case in the newspaper, and I think Mr. Zabarella may have done some business with our city in the past,
Yes, he did.
but I guess ordinance number 52, 2013 I'm really concerned that we're getting involved with people who have a prior history with Condon County that more or less relates to some bad acts, apparently.
I could understand your concern for this one act that he did, but there's over 40 years of experience there with the company. They've done quite a bit of business and work. In fact, right now they're building the Giant Eagle in Solon. I mean, they're a very reputable company. The owner made a mistake, one of the owners.
So did Jimmy.
But I don't think it'll
Didn't we have a
infringe on the
thing
work
about
being
the
done
guy who
for
wanted
us.
to put the beam in for free?
Is there any finance for recovery on this company?
No, I've got to search from the auditor's website, there is no findings for recovery. So they're clean as far as the state
And we didn't,
auditor is
since
concerned.
this was, did we go out to bids on this?
No, because it's less.
Less than
Yeah.
40,000?
Yeah, it's $18,000.
Did
For the work that they're doing.
did you go out and I know we don't.
It was solicited, yes.
Solicited from this particular company, or did you look for other
There
companies?
were other companies with Giambroni. There was, I have a whole list of them. Actually, out of 20 solicited people, only 3 actually answered.
Can, I just want to do first reading on this until I feel a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
Ken, you weren't here last week, but they had asked for a vote because they wanted to start, and everybody had said, yeah, we would support it. So the question is, has Zunigali actually started working yet?
Yes, they did, sir. They're already done with the one corner. They're moving on to the next. They're ahead of schedule.
So, you know, I wish you would have been here, and I wish we would have had full disclosure of this, because it changes the picture, but.
Well, I'm
legally-
sorry, I was in Tahiti for vacation.
I'm not criticizing you for that.
And I cannot support this ordinance.
I don't blame you, but some of us who said we would are probably would not have so said that if we had had full and complete disclosure, like for the poor bastard who wanted to put out the beam for free, who was crucified in this room.
He was not only crucified,
He was castrated too.
there were unmentionable things done to him, but
We just.
when I took a look at this ordinance and I read who was involved, I just thought to myself, I'm very, very concerned. I'm very
Mr.
concerned.
Digatano, did you know these things last week?
I've known them all my life. I've done
There's
work.
some quiet back
Did you
there.
know that this gentleman did house arrest most recently?
Yeah, it was public.
You did know?
It was public knowledge. I didn't think it would affect his work ethics or
How's
his
he doing so
ability.
far up there?
They're doing an excellent job. They've already discovered quite a few things that weren't completed by the original builder of the rec center. There are quite a few anchors that are missing, and that's why that wall cracked. So, we have plenty of pictures
Are we
and
documenting that?
information. Yes, they are documenting, documenting as they go.
I understand you're new to the job, and I don't wanna try to be a jerk, but, and I don't like to bring my other work into this, but how could you not think that somebody that's a law enforcement would care about giving city money to a convicted felon?
I'm looking at a company. I wasn't looking at, I know the other brothers have done
The
nothing.
guys who were fixing the roof are not the
And the
ones.
guys working, I mean, it's the company that I was looking at. I'm not looking at, Nick doesn't even work.
He owns part of the company that we're gonna write a check to.
He owns part of the company, yes, sir, but he does not do the work. He's not involved in the work at all.
I know he's not doing the mortar work,
Right,
but
I understand.
he owns the company, he makes the decisions,
I understand what you're saying, yes.
But I'd like to point something out you guys may not be aware of. You know, Matt Stasinski, who we had in here for, at least a year, was also named in all that. And we hired him.
We
I'm
hired
not
him.
saying it's
Before,
okay.
we
I'm not
didn't know
suggesting it's
then.
okay.
We didn't know, I mean, we
I
didn't.
believe it was in the mix.
What was Matt, the guy who did
His
the
name was
finance?
in there.
But that, we hired him 4 years before that stuff came out. This guy just spent time, or not,
Oh,
some home time.
He was a homeboy.
Burn the house down.
At any rate, who would like to take this through the first, second, and third reading?
Well, since we
Can I have a
already have,
volunteer?
we have them working, we
Kinda
could
stuck
be in
here,
a
right?
legal bind if we don't, and there was a majority of council that said, go ahead and start the job.
I'll
it's-
hold my nose and do it.
Yeah.
so
Well, we already voted on it, didn't we, last week?
Oh, yeah, we made a commitment, but I think what everybody is, a little irritated about is that something so significant, I mean,
What
it's kinda like Hazelik with the Browns, you know? Whatever his name is, what is his name?
Oh, by the way, the FBI is
Yes.
asking me.
Okay, David Engel, ordinance number 52, 2013, you're going to do 1, 2, 3 on this. Now, my question is, ordinance number 53, 2013, this is an ordinance ratifying the agreement with Gabor Enterprises, Inc.
Not the
for
same
exterior
Gabor.
roof repair at the Macedonia Family Recreation Center.
It's not the same Gabor.
Again, I know that, I believe that Mr. Gabor was a driver for
Not-
Mr. Demora.
It's not the same Gabor.
Is there any type
No
of,
relation at all. They're out
No, I know.
of Perry.
But we're
There's a lot of
Drivers that would not be doing.
This is
extra
TJ Gabor.
that were involved.
That's how they say their name, Gabor, not Gabor. And there's no relation, there's no ties, there's nothing to do with each other.
Michael, would you like to handle ordinance number 50, 2013 for us?
Who's doing that, Lori?
And that's 1, 2, 3. And we lastly have ordinance number 54, 2013, an ordinance creating section 161.23 of the codified ordinances prohibiting nepotism in Macedonian hiring practice. Mr. Mona, I believe this is your ordinance. Would you like to, got a few minutes here to discuss it.
I kind of wanted to bring this out to the council to consider because I think going forward, it's not a bad thing, but I want to be crystal clear in that the employees that maybe, I don't know the word, nepotistic at this point, there's no problem, there's no questions, but I feel like going forward, eliminating that risk is a good thing. A lot of companies are doing it now. The company I work for has had it in place. They used to have, family members working together, and it created a lot of unwanted problems. So I wanted to bring it to council and see what you guys thought.
Have we been having a problem with it?
No, there's no problem.
That's, I mean,
But it's being
I know that
proactive, you know,
some
don't
of the
wait till
people,
it happens.
I know, but some of the people that do work, I've heard nothing but good stuff about them. I hate to eliminate an entire class. I understand people are worried about nepotism. Let's hire you because you're my good buddy. I get that, but what if this person is the best person for the job?
Here's my rebuttal today. Go to any person in this community and ask them what they would think if Mr. Cook hired his son to work there. Or
It's not what I asked.
But this is my point. We represent the people. It doesn't matter if you're the best.
Right, so your job is to hire the best person to service the people.
That's fine.
Right?
But don't you think it would be a little stinky if that person always got that
I
position?
do. That's maybe why you need to have a third party to do the HR or something like that. But I guess I would be okay with this if we just made it elected officials.
Shane, the problem that I have is this. Within, say, a storied police department, like the New York City Police Department,
Yes.
you have generations
Absolutely.
of families working there.
Mhm.
And they're a very proud family, and they performed. They performed at 9/11, not only in the police department, but also in the fire department.
Doctors
And I just want to do a first reading on this, Nick, so we can give it more consideration. I'd like to get more comments. Mayor, you made some very, very good comments that I read concerning this ordinance.
And just very quickly, Ken, I'd like to make clear that there's a difference between hiring and appointing. Appointing a relative to a position is bureaucracy. We don't have that at this level of government. Everybody that applies for a job goes through many interviews. The service department right now, people going through and being interviewed are on their third interview. We have our HR gal sitting in on it. We do have a policy that was adopted in 2003, nearly 10 years ago. It's in our policy and procedures. We really bring objectivity to our interviews. So in other words, we don't ask people, well, do you want this job? We ask people, what can you do for this city? And we're very, very tough. As far as Jim DiGatano just getting hired as the service director, Jim, how many interviews were you in?
Well, I believe three full interviews.
3 full interviews. 4, 1 was on his own and 3 were with other people in the room, asking each one of them pointedly, what can you do? What can you do? So you're hiring, you're not appointing. So there's a difference. That's the way I
Who
feel.
were the other people?
They were directors from other communities, they were retired.
Okay, that's good, so
Oh,
you
yeah.
brought in people that didn't know him.
Right. These were,
Do you always do that?
didn't know
Do you always, when you're gonna hire somebody, do you always bring in somebody from outside to help with the interviews?
No, he
No.
helped interview the people for the service department.
No, I'm talking 2 different things. He's
Right.
now interviewing for a person to work
Yeah.
for him.
Right,
When I interviewed him, I
okay,
put him in the room with 3 other people
That's
to
what I'm
try and to find out which one of those can answer the
and
question.
you weren't in the room and you didn't give any
No,
input?
I was in the room listening to what they had to
Okay,
say.
that's very important, I mean, that's what I'm talking about, it's almost a third party.
And
like a
so
review
is
board of some
HR.
sort.
No,
So-
he's saying he interviewed 3 people at the same time for the
At the
position.
same time.
He didn't have 3 people interview. You got it backwards.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
interviewing
okay. I thought you brought in, say,
Experts.
right,
These are all
Never do
applicants,
that.
but we do have HR in the room when we're going through this, and in some cases, depending on the job even, an opinion from the law department. And every single one of the people that we hire go through extensive background checks. So if there was something right now where we would say, you know, this is going on all the time. Well, it happens all the time at the county level. It happens all the time in huge metropolises like Cleveland. But it don't happen in Macedonia, and we have a policy, and everybody that gets a packet of new materials gets ethics laws, and we don't have something that says it's against the law to hire a relative, but we have policies and procedures that must be followed in the hiring process. So you don't call up your son and say, come on in, I'm gonna give you a job. He applies, and we post our jobs internally and externally. So we can get people from inside applying, we can get people from the outside applying. Then we take all of those people in the law department and in HR, weed out the ones that are the best, and then we start interviewing processes, and like Jim says, 3-4 times they go through different interviews with different circumstances to make sure we're getting the right people. Well, what if that person is Scott's son?
Well, Mr. Mayor, this is an interesting discussion, and Shane obviously, by his curiosity, has perhaps prompted the need for a work session on this. And what I'd like to do at this point is to do a first reading on ordinance number 54, 2013. Nick, you're gonna handle that. And there's approximately 2 minutes before we hit the floor, so I'd like to bring this to a close.
I'm definitely not ready to vote on that, so yes, first reading.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, gentlemen.
Or Saturday, yeah.
Saturday, Sunday,
You caught that one, huh?
you know, I
Get all that, Rachel? Hi, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Well, on council nights, I get a little,
Yes, it does. 0900.
yeah, because of all these things go on, and we make plans. Right now, people already said it was all right. Last meeting.
She was here for 3
And then
months.
this meeting it changed.
Oh my
This could be an
God.
interesting one.
Let's hire her.
Tonight? Yeah.
This guy runs a house.
It's hard to lie, I can't remember.
If you want to like, relatives, I'd rather marry family. Huh?
I have to.
I want to make sure I can introduce it.
Sure.
I was gonna give it to Shane. I think I should just give it to him. Hey,
Whatever you
hey,
feel comfortable.
hey, Ken.
Yes.
Ken, I'm gonna give Shane the Zavarella one.
Good.
I have to, It's a family matter.
So I'm not doing
My
that?
brother's married to 40 years to this other. I didn't know.
I'm not saying that, see, we should have known.
Thank you, but I didn't know. I'm giving it to Shane now. So what do I gotta do? Abstain? Huh?
I guess you could abstain.
Yes, you abstain.
What, with Deborah?
She has to abstain.